If you're here because you care about how wars were actually survived, not just how they were fought, you're in the right place. Warpaths of Europe exists for people who want substance, not surface history. If this kind of deep, practical military history matters to you, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and leave a comment with the conflicts or systems you want covered next. Now, let's get straight to the point. Trench medicine was about speed, simplicity and survival under collapse. Trench medicine during the First World War was not elegant, modern or comfortable. It was brutally practical. Medical officers worked in mud, darkness, artillery shock and constant shortages. The goal was never perfect healing. The goal was keeping a man alive long enough to move him away from the front. You know, that mindset is really the first lesson modern crises demand. When systems fail, hospitals are overwhelmed and supplies are limited, survival depends on acting fast with what you have, not waiting for ideal conditions. In the trenches, a wound that was treated within minutes had a dramatically higher survival rate than one left unattended. Even today, whether during civil unrest, natural disasters, or infrastructure collapse, the same rule applies. Immediate intervention matters more than advanced equipment. Bleeding control was the single most important skill. Most battlefield deaths in the trenches came from blood loss, not infection. Soldiers were taught to apply direct pressure immediately, often using field dressings carried on their bodies. Tourniquets were crude but effective when used correctly, especially for limb injuries. Medics emphasized stopping bleeding before anything else, even before moving the wounded man. This lesson transfers directly to modern emergencies. Knowing how to apply firm pressure with cloth, clothing, or bandages can save a life. A belt, scarf, or even a torn shirt can act as a tourniquet if applied tightly above a severe limb wound. The principle here is not sophistication, but honestly decisiveness. In a car accident, building collapse, or violent incident, controlling bleeding in those first few minutes is often the difference between life and death. Wound cleaning should be focused on removal, not perfection. Trench wounds were, well, absolutely filthy. Mud, fabric, bone fragments and metal shards were driven deep into the tissue. Medics knew that sealing dirt inside a wound was, quite frankly, deadly. So their approach was aggressive cleaning, often painful, removing visible debris before dressing the wound. Sterility was really secondary to clearing contamination. In modern crises, where clean water and antiseptics may be, limited, this principle still holds true. Flushing a wound thoroughly with the cleanest water available is better than doing nothing while waiting for medical care. Removing obvious dirt reduces the risk of severe infection. Covering a wound without cleaning it traps contamination and, increases complications later on. Infection control relied on drainage and exposure. Before antibiotics, trench doctors learned that tightly closed wounds often turned gangrenous. The solution was counterintuitive by modern standards. Wounds were left open to drain, dressed loosely and monitored. For modern survival situations, this teaches restraint. Not every wound should be tightly sealed. In an austere environment, allowing drainage while keeping the wound clean and protected can be safer than closing it prematurely. Regular inspection, cleaning and redressing were standard trench practices, and honestly, they remain valuable today. Many soldiers died with wounds that did not appear fatal. Trench medics recognized shock early, even if they didn't fully understand it scientifically. Pale skin, confusion, weakness, and rapid breathing were warning signs. The response was warmth, rest, fluids when possible, and reassurance. In modern emergencies, shock is still, underestimated. Keeping an injured person warm, using coats, blankets, or, ground insulation prevents rapid deterioration. Lying them down, elevating legs when appropriate, and reducing stress can stabilize them until help arrives. These are low-tech actions with high impact, proven under fire. Triage was ruthless but realistic. Medics sorted wounded men into those who could return to duty, those who needed evacuation, and those unlikely to survive. Time and resources were not wasted where they could not change the outcome. This mindset is uncomfortable but necessary in mass casualty situations today. When multiple people are injured, prioritizing those with survivable injuries ensures the greatest number live. Knowing when to move on is not cruelty. It is disciplined survival logic. Improvised splinting prevented long-term damage. Broken limbs were common and, proper immobilization really mattered. Medics used rifles, boards, and even entrenching tools to splint fractures. The goal was stability, not comfort. Modern application is honestly straightforward. Any rigid object can immobilize a limb if it's secured properly. Preventing movement reduces pain, blood loss, and further injury during transport. This is especially critical in remote areas or, during disasters when evacuation is delayed. Hygiene discipline saved more lives than medicine. Trench doctors constantly fought lice, trench foot, and disease. Simple habits like drying feet, changing socks, cleaning wounds daily, and maintaining basic sanitation reduced casualties dramatically. These were enforced because neglect killed. In crisis conditions today, hygiene collapses quickly. Regular cleaning, foot care, and waste control prevent small problems from becoming disabling ones. Survival is often lost to infection and neglect, not dramatic injuries. The mindset of trench medicine still applies today. Trench medicine was built for chaos. It assumed shortages, delays, and uncertainty. That makes it relevant now. The core lessons are, speed, simplicity, decisiveness, and discipline. You act with what you have, you prioritize life-threatening problems, and you maintain hygiene relentlessly. These principles apply whether you are preparing for disasters, studying military history, or honestly building real-world resilience. They are not theoretical. They were written in blood and learned the hard way. If this kind of serious, grounded history is what you value, support Warpaths of Europe by subscribing, liking the video, and sharing it with others who care about how history actually worked. Leave a comment with your thoughts or the next topic you want explored. This knowledge only stays alive if it's passed on.